What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. Today, we got to talk a little Mets, but I do want to focus on the New York Yankees. They are on an absolute tear right now, cruising through the American League, and this narrative about them not being able to beat good teams, it has to stop. We'll also get into some NBA playoff talk, Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
That ball is out of here! Out of here!
All right, getting into the episode. And we're going to start with the Mets. It's been another dumpster fire season coming to this point. It's only May. There's still time to turn it around. In 2021, the Braves, or 2022, the Braves were sub 500 or very close to 500. And then they just turned it on somehow. I don't know how it happened, and then they came back to beat us in the division. I think we were leading them by around 10 games, and they came back, beat us in that series in the House of Horrors, Truist Park. That was terrible. But right now, we're sitting 15 games back, 7 games under 500 after being swept by the Guardians. I just don't understand how we're losing series to the Marlins. The Guardians have been streaky, but getting swept by the Guardians. I understand the Braves and Phillies. The Cardinals. How are we losing a series to the Cardinals? The Rays, we can't get swept by the Rays. The Cubs, we need to be with. The Cubs aren't that bad. Um, it's just it just hasn't been good. Um, I don't know. I think Pete's gone at the deadline. I think McNeil will be gone at the deadline if anybody wants to take him, because he has been horrendous for us. He has done absolutely nothing since signing that contract. After winning the batting title, yeah, he needs to be better. He hit home runs on back-to-back days, which could be a sign in the right direction. But I don't know, based on how this team has worked the past couple years, and the way we just nothing has gone our way. It's been back to the LOL Mets after a good year in 2021, winning 101 games, punching above our weight class, I guess, and that's why we've fallen. Well, the bottom line is we need to be better, and there's no way around it. We need to play better baseball. I like Harrison Bader. I honestly think we should re-sign Harrison Bader and Luis Severino. Not to huge contracts, but maybe 2 or 3 years each. Give them a couple million. Because they've been very good. I like Harrison Bader hitting that home run after being plunked on purpose. I like the retaliation, except we lose a second straight game while we hit 3 home runs. SNY broadcast flashed a stat. That's 78% of teams win when they hit 3 home runs. The Mets hit 3 home runs 2 days in a row and lost both. They lost both. This team is so bad. It's hard to watch them at times. Adam Ottavino has to be gone at the deadline. Who else needs to be gone? Diaz, if somebody will take a shot on him. Who else? Nimmo could stay. I think Nimmo's been up and down. Marte might be gone. We just need to. It's got to be a fire sale for a second year in a row, which is not what you want to hear, but it's the hard cold truth. And that's what I do. I don't get on here and say, "Oh, there's a positive. We weren't supposed to be good this year. This was a punted season." No, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We're terrible. We should be better than this. We should be hovering around 500, not 7 games under, around 50 games into the season. It's terrible. On the flip side, going to the Bronx, that team has the best record in the American League. The New York Yankees are killing right now. They are in a groove, and it's more than just the first part of the season where they were playing well. We're 50 games in now. We're into the season. We're fully in. Um, they've been very good. Juan Soto is not leaving the Bronx. I don't care who tells me. He loves it out there. I see them doing the roll call. He's turning around, showing the bleacher creatures. He's not leaving. He loves it. That's flat out. And then what I really want to talk about, this narrative that they can't be good teams is terrible. It just is. And I'm a Mets fan. I'm a diehard Mets fan. Like, don't get that wrong. But they're a good team, and they had a bad series versus the Orioles. Yes, that was with Aaron Judge before he got right. Did Stanton produce in that series? I don't know if Stanton was producing. Um, that might have been the early phase of Anthony Volpe batting leadoff, when he wasn't playing as well. Um, let me check that out actually because I want to see. Let's see. This is game 4 of that series. They lost 7-2. Volpe 1 for 4. Judge 0 for 2. Um, Oswaldo Cabrera 0 for 4. Like, and then Carlos Rodon had one of his worst starts of the season, probably his worst start of the season. So he had a bounce back year. He threw 6 innings, gave up 7 earned. Um, so that wasn't their series. First trip to Camden Yards of the year. I feel like the Yankees don't usually play well up there for some reason. I don't know why. And yes, I'm a Mets fan. I love the Mets. I will never switch fandom. But I listen to a ton of Yankee games on radio. I know John Sterling's gone now, but Shackle and Emmanuel Babari are very good. Um, and I probably listen to 130, 140 games. Not all 9 innings, but 5, 6 innings of games. And I listen to a lot of the post game shows too, because my guy Keith McPherson, shout out Keith, comes on after. So I'm always locked in. I don't know, like, so it's not like I don't watch the Yankees and I'm coming on here like Stephen A. Smith or something. Trying to hate. And I'm not hating. I'm saying they're a very good team. And then you look at this series versus the Marlins, right? They lose the first 2 games, both games that they shouldn't have won, or that they should have won. Um, the first one, um, let's see, wait, what was the first one? The first one was the day Glaber homered, right? No, that was game 2. Oh, this was the Clay Holmes blown save, right? This should have been a win. The Yankees needed to win that game. They were up going into the 9th. Clay Holmes has this new entrance that he does. All the lights go out. The Yankees start playing music. It's basically their version of Edwin Diaz, Narco, the trumpets, sound the trumpets. He's been horrible, but Clay Holmes, he's been lights out. He hadn't allowed an earned run to that point in the season. And as the great John Sterling would say, that's baseball, Susan. You're not gonna go perfect. You're gonna allow 1 run in the year. That wasn't his best game. He allowed 4 earned. But his ERA for the year is still 1.64. Yes, it's still early, but he's been pitching very well. Um, the Yankees bullpen always tends to be very good, but Clay Holmes is elevating his game to another level this year. And I know Yankee fans were skeptical of him coming into the year, and even after that Houston series where they swept their opening series. Um, but no, he's very good. I think he's on an expiring contract after this year. That doesn't matter. Hal Steinbrenner, he's got to pay Juan Soto. I don't think it's going to be too hard. I think you have to give him whatever he wants, because he's just played too well. He's changed your lineup too much to not give him 600, 600 million dollars. Like and make him retire a Yankee. Like that, he's just done too much for them. All right, game 2 of this series, another game that the Yankees should have won. Looking at the runs, the Yankees go down 4-0 early. And really into the 7th, they were getting shut out. And Gleyber Torres, yeah, I know he's been slumping this year and he hasn't been hitting well. And DJ LeMahieu should take his reps at second base, and be the everyday second baseman when he returns from the IL. He homers, 3-run shot, and suddenly it's a 4-3 game. Right then, Aaron Boone decides to bring Clayton Andrews in the game. And if none of you know Clayton Andrews, I didn't know him going into the game. He had just been called up from AAA that day. He had never been in New York in his life before. I don't know how. Aaron Boone said he thought it was a lane. I think there were three out of the 4 batters he faced were lefties. He wanted to steal a couple outs. That's what he said. That was his reasoning after the game. But it didn't work. And Brooks Rally homered, and then um, what's his name? Dylan Moore homered, and he had a very big series. He was 3 for 4 in that game. Um, he really killed the Yankees. That's all she wrote. Boone should have brought Ferguson in, another lefty, um, who could have eaten up those outs, and he's been very good this year. And these are just 2 lapses by the Yankee bullpen, and they don't happen often. There's also a play. Gleyber Torres in here made an error. It was a tough play for him to make, and it would have been smarter for him to just eat it and not try to make a very tough play at first base, which he did, and ended up throwing the ball past Anthony Rizzo, who is a top of the line defensive first baseman, I think. Um, but just mental lapses. Gleyber Torres has to be better. Um, they My guess is that they would try to shop him at the deadline. I don't know who's gonna want him, but Gleyber, he's in a prove it year. He's in a contract year. Um, he needs to start get it going right now, or he's gonna be gone and he's not gonna get the contract he wants going into next year. Um, yeah, the Yankees, they're a good team. They're gonna be top of the American League all year. It's gonna be them, the Orioles, the Royals, maybe the Mariners. The Mariners haven't really played anybody except the Yankees right now. And then they played the Yankees. They split the 4-game set, but the Yankees easily could have swept, but they didn't. And that's baseball. They'll be fine. And the Mariners are the ones that I worry about. And really, for the Yankees, last thing I want to say, it's going to be that June stretch where that's going to make or break their season. They can't have a June swoon. Um, they should be getting Garrett Cole back. I don't know when DJ's coming back, but he should be coming back soon. But just look at this stretch for the Yankees. The Twins, who I know they own the Twins. The Dodgers, that'll be good. That's a weekend set. Um, then they got the Royals, who have been good this year. Bobby Witt Jr. has been playing good ball. Then they got the Red Sox, the rivalry that isn't really a rivalry anymore. The Red Sox aren't that good. They're 2 games over 500. They're where the Mets should be right now, honestly. Then they got the Orioles, the Braves, the Orioles and Braves, to really wrap up that tough stretch. And then to end the month, they got the Mets and the Blue Jays. The Mutts. So yeah, that's all I want to say about the Yankees. They're good. They can be good teams. Aaron Judge is right. Juan Soto is not leaving the Bronx. He looks right at home in the boogie down. All right, getting to some Western and Eastern Conference Finals talk. Let's start off with the East because they're playing right now. The Celtics and Pacers. How do the Pacers lose that game one? Oh my God, they had it all the way, and then Jaylen Brown with a heroic 3-point shot. Mike Breen's second double bang of the playoffs. Of course, the first one coming on Dante's three to take the lead in game two versus the Sixers. Um, yeah, the Celtics are the best team. They're gonna waltz to the NBA Finals, and they should. Honestly, they're better than everybody. They're the best. Um, Outside of a fully healthy Knicks team, they're the best team in the East. Let's see. We got it's end of the first half right now. The Celtics are up 13. They should sweep or win in 5 versus the Pacers. The Pacers are not that good of a team. Um, and the Knicks would have beat them. The injuries just caught up to them. There was only so much we could do. Um, but then once the final, I think they lose in the finals. I think I want the Timberwolves to win right now, but I think the Mavs are gonna win. Luka and Kyrie just look unstoppable. How does Kyrie go from somebody who's considered a cancer in the locker room to being one of the best teammates, one of the best Robins, because he's the Robin to Luca's Batman in the league right now, and the best one still playing by far. He's been great for them. He knows when to shoot his shots. He picks his spots well. And he's just been a very good veteran presence for an honestly pretty young Mavericks team. Luka's already in his sixth season. Wow. Um, but yeah, he has more All NBA first team appearances than Jalen Brunson or than Steph Curry. What am I talking about? I was thinking about Jalen Brunson got snubbed of first team um, spot. But I'll get into that in a couple minutes. Um, but yeah, with the Celtics, they're gonna lose in the finals. The West is way better than the East this year. Um, and I just think the Celtics are good, but they need Porzingis back if they want any chance of winning. Um, and that's a fact. All right, moving on to the Western Conference Finals. And like I just mentioned, Luca and Kyrie might be the best duo in the NBA. Right now, they definitely are. They just work so well together. They said there wouldn't be enough defense. They said Kyrie was going to ruin the culture. They said they wouldn't work well together. Well, Kyrie knows that he has to sit down and let Luka take control of this team, and that's what he's done. Kyrie has not tried to take over and be the number one guy. He knows his role on this team. But when he gets hot, he knows he can take over and he can lead the Mavericks to a win on any given night. And he has the ability to score a basketball on any play. They have just fit so well together, and it's such an exciting team to watch. They won game one versus the Wolves, and Cat and Gobert. I think the Wolves are going to be fine. I don't know if they win. I think it's going 7 games. I want them to win right now, but we'll see. I think it's definitely going 7, and I think the Mavericks pull it out. Um, because the Mavs they played 6 games in both series. I think. Let me check that real quick because I want to be right. But I know they won 6 versus the Thunder, and then versus the Clips, and they went game 6. Um, so even if this does go to game 7, the the Timberwolves will have played less games because they swept the Suns. So that'll be their. They've already played 4 plus 7 is 11. So they've already played 12 playoff games as opposed to the Mavs 13. So it'll only be 1 game difference. But in a game 7, you don't know what could happen. And we saw that with the Knicks. Perfect example. Um, the Pacers just came out, shot the lights out, NBA playoff record, highest field goal percentage in the game. And that's the perfect example of anything can happen in a game 7. Now, transition into some talk about my Knicks. The more I've thought about it, the more I want to run it back next year. Ju Julius with if we had Julius, we would have been unstoppable in this playoff run. We would be up 1-0 in this series right now, threatening to go up 2-0 against the Celtics. I mean, it's gonna take James Dolan, to open his wallet, but he's done that before. He's shown that he will pay a star. And I don't know if OG is really a star, but he'll pay OG and he'll pay Hartenstein. I also think we need to use one of those 2 draft picks, first round draft picks, because we've came away with nothing the last 3 years, and we gotta start building up that those young guys. And really, we can do what we did with Deuce, have him come up in the G League and then be a real, contributor. The player I have my eye on right now is the point guard from UConn. I forget what his first name is. I know his last name is Newcastle though. We do still need a point guard. Um, and I think he would play well in that role. Let me see, what's his first name on the UConn website right here. Um, I think he'd be a good point guard for us. Tristan, wait, no. S- It was Stephon Castle that I was thinking about. Um, I think he'll be a good point guard for us in the future. Cause Deuce, his perfect role is a 3-and-D guy, knocking down threes and playing good defense. That's his role on this team. We still need that point guard coming off the bench. Alec Burks just signed with Clutch Sports, which means he's probably not coming back. Bogey isn't really a point guard. He's like a small forward who will space the floor and shoot the three. And then whether it's Mitch or we get another big off the bench, we don't have a true point guard. Um, and that's something we need. I don't think he'd be the perfect point guard we need off the bench in year 1, but by year 3 or 4, when we're really going all in NBA finals or bust season, we're gonna need that point guard off the bench, that steadying presence when things get hectic. All right, now some talk about the man, Jalen Brunson. He played so well this year. He did everything he could. He put New York City on his back. He tried so hard to carry us to the Eastern Conference Finals. And this man got snubbed once again. He easily should have been an NBA for All NBA first team, without a doubt. He should have been there over Tatum, and that's just not even a question. But he wasn't. More motivation, and he'll be better next year, without a doubt. And here's the thing I like most: he's willing to take $114 million pay cut per Steve Popper of Newsday, and he's gonna sign the 4-year, $156 million extension this offseason, as opposed to signing 4 years, $270 million next offseason. That is big time. That is very, very big time. He knows what it takes to win. He knows he's gonna have to have pieces around him, and he wants to win. He's a team player. Was Tom Brady ever the highest paid player on their championship teams? Was Derek Jeter ever the highest paid player on the Yankees championship teams? No, they weren't. And Jalen knows what it takes. He's a competitor. He is a winner. All he did at Nova was win. He knows what it takes. It's gonna free up cap space to maybe bring back an Isaiah Hartenstein. Hopefully bring back an OG Anunoby. And going back to Hartenstein for one sec, I saw a video of him knocking down threes in a Knicks uniform, which means it had to have been the 2022-23 season. Why did he stop doing that? We need a stretch five. I think that's something else we could attack in the draft. I don't really have somebody in my mind for that, but our scouts could get to work on that, or we could sign somebody in free agency. I just don't know how deep Tibbs wants to run the bench. Um, but my perfect scenario here: sign Ihart, have him the starter. The starting lineup I want to be the same as this year. And then off the bench, you got Deuce as the sixth man, a stretch five. I don't know who it is. I don't really know who's on the market. Um, Coming off the bench next for iHeart, and then Bogey. Also, I want to bring back Bogey, and then maybe um, what's his name? Tristan Castle, Stephon Castle from Connecticut, just for a couple minutes a game, so we get some experience. That will be my dream scenario and lineup rotation for next year for the Knicks. I genuinely think we can go all the way with that. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion, and this was the Sports Pod.